Good evening, salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I gotta say this one was actually pretty good. This one was pretty good. There was so many things in this episode that was funny. Um, Sarah, I'm like, what are you doing? Okay, they moved into the really low, cheap, roach infested hotel. I'm like, Sarah, this isn't. This could not have been a plan for your life to be sitting there slumming it with jobless Xander at some roach motel that quote unquote is the size of poodles or whatever. So, he comes in there, he kills it, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go. Well, first he starts talk. Well, obviously he starts talking, but he's like, oh, maybe I could sit there and smuggle some diamonds, do some illegal stuff or whatever, and just she's like, no, I don't really want you doing that, this, that, and the third. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm just gonna sit there and be legit. I'm gonna be honest. In a lot of ways, you can see you can see some of the stuff that's gonna come before it actually comes. Um, you can see some of the stuff that's gonna come before it actually comes. And after that, he leaves. Maggie, I think Maggie was not there talking to Sarah before, and she was like, "Yo, listen, I want you to come back. Okay, I want you to come back." And of course, when she gets there, first of all, there's also a smell. So that's wow. She wants to sit there and check on her daughter, and then she sees like there's a smell. There's roaches. There's written stuff on like parts of like the furniture, and she's like, no, I handle Victor. You got to come back. So I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm fully employed, and we'll make something work. And I'm just like, my whole thing was like, did you know? Like, she knew that this man didn't have a job before. What was the idea? I don't understand that. I don't understand how she felt that they were just gonna stay in that hotel forever, and this man don't have a job. Okay? I get it. It's a soap opera, romance, and everything like that. But I'm like, bro, come on. You're staying in a nice, ritzy hotel that he can't pay for. And then you practically move back in with your mom, your stepdad, and his uncle. Then they get into a fight, and they go to the most. Here's the thing. In all reality, it wasn't as bad as, I'm just saying that, well, let's be honest. If you got one roach, that's enough. But, you want them moving out into this roach infested place that smells. This, like, life, this is not the direction that you have for your life. This is not the path. So her mom gives her some money, and she's like, no, I'll pay you back, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, Xander's out there looking into one ads, comes across Ava, and is like, yo, I got a proposition for you. So this chick is like, how about we kidnap Susan? I'm like, what? Like, bro, don't I was like, I know you want to get back at EJ, but don't you think you're taking this a little bit too far? So at first she's like, nah, I don't want to do it, it's not really my thing, little old ladies or whatever. Um, I don't exactly remember the reason why. It was also has a lot to do with Sarah and stuff like that. He wasn't EJ, right? Now EJ was sitting there questioning Johnny about coming after him, like, oh, you're coming after me. I didn't believe your story at the Mara Enterprises. And Susan sticks up for him, so he leaves. He leaves and he runs into Xander. Now at this point, this is why I sit there and I say you can see this coming a mile away. He tells Ava, no, I'm not going to do this. Runs into EJ. Okay, I mean, come on now. You bump into him for like 5 minutes. You want to do bodily harm to him. You just do. So EJ starts being all sarcastic and looking down upon him, and um, you know, Xander was like, "Listen, if you help me out, give me a job. I can sit there and I tell you who's coming after you." So EJ's like, "Oh, you're gonna sit there and betray your family? That's a great start." And once he said that, I was like, I know somebody else who betrayed their family. And yet people sat there and defended him. So another show starts with a Y, ends with a dot 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 dot. Anyway, he just starts to say some things that gets on his skin, just really just being a dick. Okay? That's literally what he's being. He was being a dick. And so after he left, oh, and apparently it's called Downton Abbey. And I'm not gonna lie, I always called it Downtown Abbey. But to be honest, I don't watch the show, so um. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Anyway, after that little encounter, he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna sit there and help you kid. Well, I'm gonna kidnap Susan. The idea is to kidnap Susan and get some money, ransom her and stuff like that for like millions of dollars." I'm like, it's really interesting because this is why I don't root for Xander. This is exactly why I don't root for Xander. Okay, because after he almost lost Sarah when um she came back and everything like that, and she forgave him. Which I'm gonna be honest, I kind of was just like, sorry, you can kick rocks over that one. Um, but you get her back, and you decide you want to sit there and just blow it all to hell. And of course, that is a gateway to get back with Gwen. So we all know it's gonna wind up happening. It's gonna wind up happening. So that happens. Now, Chanel, Chanel sees Wendy. Well, Chanel comes in and gives Wendy some pastries and stuff like that. And Chanel's like, I gotta ask you a question about Johnny. And I was like, oh no. At first, she was like, I gotta ask you something. And for some odd reason, Wendy went with, oh, you wanna have a threesome with me? What the? I don't understand where that came from. Okay. I thought that was just, I don't know where that came from. But afterwards, that happens. And after they get through the confusion, Chanel's like, no, 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 I want to know what your thoughts on Johnny is, as far as if you're using him. And I'm like, Chanel, it's like, why are you butting in? Why are you butting your nose into something that doesn't have anything to do with you? She calls it being concerned, but I'm like, no, you're being nosy. Like seriously, you're being nosy and you're being annoying. And I understand the whole, I'm trying to be a good friend and yada yada yada. I was like, bro, listen, what he does with another woman is his business. It's not yours. Don't you have business with Ali? Then you sit there and say, well, I chose Ali, so you don't want to sit there and have that BS. You want to sit there and be knocking boots with Ali, knock boots with Ali. Like, stay out of whatever's going on with Johnny. Even when she was like with Johnny, she was like, oh, well, Ava's too old and da 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 da. I was like, shut your. Hmm. So after, she talks about, he doesn't want to be, she doesn't want him to be her, blah, 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 blah. Wendy's like, oh, I don't even think he sees me that way. And so we all know where this is going to go. He likes Johnny, and Johnny, I don't know where he stands with her. And of course, you got the Johnson brothers that's clearly going after Wendy again because why not? Um, so you got that going. All right. I was like, did I miss something? I was like, I feel like I missed something. Oh, Stephanie got, she got a job back. She gave the papers to Paulina. Paulina was happy about it, and Paulina was like, I only came down on your heart because it involved my daughter. So she was like, all right, well, now with this proof or whatever I have, she can't do anything. I'm sitting there thinking, backups. What if she has a backup? Now, she does sit there and say if Sloan said something, she can sue her for slander. Because, I got the only copies and the only evidence, and I'll just sue her for slander, this, that, and the third. I'm like, I don't. I feel like that. I mean, granted, even this time Stephanie was like, I don't know, because she, Pauline was like, well, I'm gonna sit there, I can't wait to rub it in her face, and Stephanie was like, I don't know about that. I mean, you gotta keep your head on a swivel with people like Sloan. I don't know. I look at that whole thing and I'm like, well, I don't think that you're out the woods just because you have these files. Because again, back up and. Hmm, the thing is with slander, even if it's slander, even if this person sues or whatever, at the end of the day, that information's out in the world. Whoever this person is knows what Chanel did. And, it may get to a point where it's like, you know what? I don't care about the lawsuit. I don't care about any of that. I'm just going to sit there and tell the truth. And still blow her life apart. So this whole, oh, I got the files or whatever, it's like, I want to sit there and just do a victory lap. Now, with that being said, Chad comes over to talk to Victor, meets her with Alex, and, it's like, hey, listen, could you talk to Victor? Tell her, like, try to smooth things over. But Alex was like, no, don't worry about it. I gave her the file. She good, you know? Then you get into this argument about Stephanie and, does Alex still have feelings for her? And they start going back and forth. But at some point, Stephanie does come by and she overhears the fact that Chad is like, I'm not over Abby. And I don't think I like, and I never will be. I don't want to move on with anyone. So she has this hurt look on her face, and I'm like, well, see, this is what happens when you eavesdrop. This is what happens when you eavesdrop. So I don't really know what to sit there and tell you at this point. But with that being said, she comes on in and she's, tells Chad, hey, I gotta talk to Alex for a little bit. So Chad leaves, and Stephanie's like, hey, I want to thank you and, for what you did. And Alex is like, well, you already did that. He's like, no. I want to take you out to dinner. AKA consolation prize. Consolation prize. Meet Mr. Consolation Prize. No one wants to be the consolation prize. No one. I mean, even Alex is taken back. Like, I thought you really wanted nothing to do with me. So once again, Snake there jerking this man around because why not at this point? Now, I think that's about it. I mean, yeah, there was a talk with Susan and Johnny as far as Susan being like, yo, listen, you got this vendetta, right? Like, you good, And towards the end, Ava was not there. I mean, not Ava. Susan was not there doing her little psychic thing or whatever. And she's like, hey, she touched his heart. She's like, you're going to find love right around the corner, AKA Wendy. But of course, I don't know exactly how well that's going to go because you got Chanel that just can't mind her own business and forgot that she chose Allie over Johnny, and yet I feel like she's having a bit of buyer's remorse, but whatever. I feel like that's pretty much about it. I can't think of anything else to really happen. So with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.